Well, hey everybody, glad that you're with me here today. I'm excited to let you know that we have a few things going on today in the automotive industry. And probably the first thing is that Acura showed the new TLX this morning. It was this morning Pacific time. So if you want to get a question in, you're just more than welcome to do that. I'm going to actually talk a little bit about the TLX. And also this morning, they announced the pricing for the GV80 in the Canadian marketplace. So first of all, before we do all of that, a couple of things. Car Cost Canada is the main sponsor of the channel. If you want to sign up, I encourage you to do it to become an expert member. Use the promo code MOTORMOUTH and you get more searches opened up for you. And it's a great service to find out what the cost of a car actually is that the dealer pays, the discounts, the rebates, the secret incentives, all of the stuff that you're not aware of. You're only going to get that at carcostcanada.com. And what else? Oh, a major announcement starting next week. So there will not be a live show on Sunday, okay? I'm moving it to 2 times a week. So it'll be Monday and Thursday, all right? I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, as we're starting to get the COVID reality lifted a little bit, people are going out more. These live shows are certainly followed by a lot of enthusiasts, and I appreciate that. But the numbers have come down a little bit, so I'm going to take it down to 2 times a week. So instead of Sunday, it'll be moved to Monday. So Mondays and Thursdays, okay? Which gives me the weekend off, right? So that means I get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So Mondays and Thursdays starting next week. I'll remind you about that again in a moment. Okay, so what else is going on? Yeah, let's get into our pictures. This is DJ Pleasure Seeking Missile's brother's car, the Fiat 500 Abarth, which is a load of fun to drive. Sounds fantastic. That is your absolute rocket, roller skate go-kart vehicle, much like the Mini Cooper S, but smaller. So congratulations, he likes it. Then we have Francisco with his Renault 207. The Peugeot, I should say, 207. He's got a Clio there, and then the new car moving from South America to Canada is the Hyundai Elantra that his wife drives. So obviously he likes the small cars, which I do too. Those are great cars, Peugeot, Renault, and then you have the Hyundai. So there you go. Then we have a Daniel from Rimouski, Quebec, sent in a model picture of, it looks like a Porsche 917, I believe that's right. And speaking of 917s, I have one here, a model car as well that my dad gave me years ago. And the cool thing was, when I was at the Rennsport reunion, the Porsche reunion, a year ago, I think it was, this actual car, this actual race car was there. And it kind of took my breath away when I saw it. I was like, that is so cool. All right. Then we have Rohan is next. Now this I love. He's got a Cadillac CT6, the 3.6 liter. I love that car. That is a wonderful, wonderful car. Interesting thing is this week we have a Cadillac XT6, and Andrea driving really a Cadillac for the first time, and she really likes it. So that review will be coming up next week. And all right, I just want to say those are the pictures that we got. If you want to get your picture in, go to zach@motormouth.ca. That's the email. zach@motormouth.ca. That's ZACK. ZACK@motormouth.ca or ZACK. Okay, I just want to get into what's happening here with the live chat. See, oh, there's lots of people piling on. Okay, so there seems to be some questions already about the TLX. All right, so a couple of things. So today, 2 things happened. They showed the new TLX. So this is the video that I put out this morning. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to watch it, of course, after the live show. So the TLX is going to, I should say, the same engine. The base engine will be the same engine that's in the RDX. So that's a 2-liter turbo with 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. Now the big news is the Type S is coming back with a 3-liter turbo. No horsepower numbers have been announced yet for the TLX. Of course, all of them have super handling all-wheel drive. So there's the look at the 2-liter turbo. You have the 10-speed automatic transmission. And the big news for this car, I think, is that they're kind of coming back after Genesis with the G70. So the G70 won all kinds of awards. It definitely garnered a lot of attention for Genesis. And so here is Acura fighting back with a car that is similar in sort of design, with a long hood, nice looking overhangs, plenty of power. Don't have the specs on the Type S yet. I'm guessing, considering the Genesis 3.3 liter has 365 horsepower. I think that engine will have probably more than 365 horsepower. They're probably going to want to better the G70 in terms of power. So it's exciting. So there it is. That's the TLX. Just shown today for the very first time. The base model TLX is coming this fall, and the Type S model will be coming in about a year from now, or the spring of 2021. So the 272 horsepower model will be arriving this fall. Somebody emailed me, see the Type S there with the big exhaust tips on the back. Oh, by the way, yeah, it's got a longer wheelbase. It's got a wider stance, so it's longer, wider, and a lower roof line, giving it a much better looking stance. So I think that they did a damn good job on that. And the reaction to the video that went out today, almost all positive. There are a few negative Nellies there. Of course there is, but there you go. The other news that came out today is they announced the pricing for the GV80. It's Canadian pricing. Now this was a bit of a shocker for me. So the GV80 price starts at basically $65,000, $64,500, okay? And then if you go up, that's the 2.5 liter turbo that has over 300 horsepower. Now, if you go up to the 3.5 liter turbo, it's $80,000, okay? So the 4-cylinder turbo starts at 65. If you want to go to the 3.5 liter turbo, the V6 with, I think it's 375 horsepower, that is $80,000. Now here's the thing that I find interesting. The GV80 is $65,000. Now granted, with Genesis you get everything included for 5 years. They deliver the car to you, they valet the car, and all the services are included with the car except for satellite radio. If you want a third row in the GV80, so what is it? It's a premium 3-row utility vehicle. However, the 4-cylinder versions, it's not available with the third row. You have to spend $80,000, $80,000 Canadian to get a GV80 with the third row of seats. An Acura MDX in Canada is like around 55. I just don't understand the pricing on it. I really, really don't understand the pricing on it. Okay, let me know what you guys think. Okay, I just want to let you know that we have a lot of people piling on, so let's get to the questions. Shikanze, Bullet Train. Hey, Zach, just wondering if you know the Nissan Frontier will get a full redesign with new engine or just exterior interior design, but the same chassis and engine. That's the outgoing model. I don't know really anything. I know that there's going to be some updates. I mean, the thing is ancient, so I don't know. I would hope they're going to come with something new because the vehicle is so old. I'm sorry, I don't know much about that. Tech Pro, wondering what your thoughts are on the steer-by-wire system that came with the Q50. Don't seem like any other car manufacturers seem interested in the technology. Do you think it's dead? I'm not sure if it's dead or not. But yeah, I think it's interesting, as you pointed out, that not a lot of other takers of that vehicle, of that technology, I should say. You know what would be interesting, excuse me, is to get Josh from Montreal, the real estate agent that's on here all the time. He's got a G50. And I liked it. I was one of the few reviewers when the car came out that I said I actually liked the way that it felt. And a lot of people poo-pooed it. Kilometers O'Brien. That's a good handle. Kilometers O'Brien. How do limited slip differentials perform in the snow? Are they a good intermediate step to four-wheel drive? Yeah, I would say that definitely helps. Typically, when you get limited slip differentials, it's much more for performance, but yes, it would certainly help in the snow. Portuguese Water Dog, nice to see you again. Cheers, Zach. I have never leased before, but I'm such a car fan that I'm really considering, as I believe it would be the best way to try a new car every 3 to 4 years, like the new TLX. Wow. I'm a big believer in leasing, especially for prestige cars, especially for people who have the itch to sort of move out of their cars on a regular basis. I have, I'm now that I'm getting older, I'm losing this sickness a bit, but for years, whenever I bought a car, as soon as I bought it, I was already planning on what's my next car. Now, I'm pumping the brakes lately. Obviously, I have, you know, teenage kids with expenses. One's going to go to college next year, so it's probably my wallet that's pumping the brakes. But it is a good way to go if you're interested in getting new cars every couple of years. And you have a guaranteed expenses. You know what the car is going to cost you. You know what the depreciation is, and you can buy accordingly. Hi, Zach. I saw your review of the TLX. What do you think of the interior? The center console and shifter are a bit polarizing with all those buttons. Okay, so I have to let the whole video play again, but yeah, I do have the video, and I encourage you to go and watch the video that went up this morning. I think that, so they went for a really sort of real cockpit, you know, you sit down low, but the high console, lots of buttons and switches, which I kind of like buttons and switches, but it looks a little bit busy to me. I think that the proof is always in the details when you get in it and you experience it and you see how it actually feels. But I think that credit where credit is due, where so many manufacturers are going to this one screen, streamlined, you know, like the Model 3 kind of look. They're all trying to go that way. The fact that Acura still has a real cockpit design, driver focus with switches and buttons, and I don't know. I think it's probably better than it's bad. What I don't like is the big drive control unit in the center of the dash that changes really only one thing, and that is like from sport to dynamic to eco. That big button is so prominent in the middle of the dash, and it only does one thing. I would just streamline that and get rid of that. So if a car has a 10-speed automatic transmission, what would it have if the same car was a stick? 6-speed. The only brand that I know of that has a 7-speed manual transmission is Porsche. And they basically took the PDK and made it a manual. Come in, entree. What do you have for me today, Jack? Oh, nice surprise. Pop in and say hello.
Hello.
Oh, show your shirt.
Oh.
Kawhi Leonard, fun guy.
Fun guy. There you go.
All right, cheers, Jack. Good choice on the backs.
There you go.
That, my friends, is the subscriber sip. If you're watching this after the fact and you haven't subscribed, every time I take a sip, I need you to subscribe. Yeah, so the only one I know of that has more than 6 gears is Porsche. Do you think the X5 is a good car in its segment to purchase? X5 versus Range Rover Sport. I think the latest X5 that came out last summer, it goes right to the top of the pack in my opinion. I think it is the best mid-size utility in the premium space right now. And this really hurts me to say this because I'm a massive fan of the Porsche Cayenne. I own a Porsche Cayenne, but the base engine in the X5 is better than the base engine in the Cayenne. I would say a much better handling vehicle than the Range Rover. The Range Rover Sport is really getting quite dated now, so there you go. Oh, one more thing. If you want to do a super chat and make sure your question gets answered, you can hit the little $sign as you type in. It pays a little bit to the channel, but also make sure that I see it and get your question answered. One thing I haven't talked about in a while, I did set up a Patreon account, and it's in the link of this video after the fact. And I have a $150 Patreon fee. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, Zach, that's a little rich, what I offer for that is more of what I'm doing now. One-on-one support to help you buy a car. So we will have a phone chat, also answer your questions via email, and help steer you towards buying the right car. So far I've had one person take me up on this, Rob down in Washington State, and just this Monday he picked up his Acura RDX and he's very happy with his choice. We went back and forth on what he was looking for, what his priorities were. So if you have any questions and you want one-on-one support, I'm here to help you. I do charge a fee, and you can do that at Patreon. Hey, Zach, hope you're keeping well. I'm just wondering, how does the new Atlas stack up against the new Pilot in terms of reliability alone? Thank you. I would suggest that the Atlas probably isn't in the same league as the Pilot. The engine is a strong part of this car, okay? The VR6 engine has been around for 30 years, basically, and they keep on perfecting it. It isn't the most efficient. That's one area where it falls down, but the engine is very, very good. They have had recalls on the Atlas. They've also had recalls on the Pilot. I'm not a huge fan of the 9-speed in early execution. I haven't driven a Pilot lately, but if it was me and I was going to choose a Pilot, I would choose the one that's still available with the 6-speed automatic transmission. I think it's the EXL and below. And there you go. So you can do more research to find out which one is more reliable. I'd probably give the tip of the hat to the Honda. Interesting thing, in the Canadian marketplace where I live, the Pilot is outselling the Atlas is outselling the Pilot in some months. So that's good for Volkswagen. Hey, Zach, I have the perfect car for your video question on the last show. Checks every single one of the boxes. Have to split into a few messages because it's long. Hey, Zach, I have the perfect car for the video question. I would suggest D-Burn. Here's the thing. If somebody wants to send me a video and you can't send it through your email because the server says it's too big, you can go and sign up for free to a service called WeTransfer. WeTransfer. You sign up using your email, and then you can send larger files, and then you just send me that link via email. Okay, so if you're having trouble D-Burn, do that. What is a professional vocation not related to cars that you would pursue? Well, I would have liked to have, you know, in Vancouver, if I was smart, I say this to Andrea all the time. I said, if 20 years ago, if we were smart, we would have just bought and sold houses in Vancouver, and we wouldn't have been rich. We would have been really rich, because the real estate is so expensive here compared to when we bought this house 21 years ago. So what I would suggest is, I do like the idea of building a house or renovating houses and that sort of thing. That really interests me. I find that interesting. I'm also a bit of an economics nerd. You probably get that when I talk about, you know, marketing and all that kind of stuff. I do like that. So I really like sort of macroeconomics. I'm always watching CNBC, Bloomberg and stuff like that. I'm into that. The Jeep Cherokee Limited Trim Spec D out okay. The Jeep Cherokee Limited Trim Spec'd out properly has a large integrated screen running Uconnect, one of the best infotainments out there, has the power speed she's looking for with a 270 horsepower engine. Now, absolutely, you pointed that out, that the previous live chat, I had Erica from Toronto asking for a particular vehicle. She was considering the Rogue. Now, the reason why I didn't use a domestic product is because I find that people who are shopping for a Rogue are kind of leaning more towards Asian import brands. I agree with you that the Cherokee does tick a lot of those boxes. But there you go. I think it's basically one of those things where I didn't suggest it because I didn't think she would be interested in a domestic product. If she had said, the vehicle I'm considering is a Cherokee, well, I would have mentioned all of the other vehicles. Another one that definitely ticks the boxes is the new Ford Escape. The new Ford Escape with the 2-liter turbo engine is fantastic. It's got loads of power. In fact, you can watch the review I did of it. It really surprised me how much I liked it. Hey, Rob's here from south of the border. As I mentioned, my first Patreon who just picked up his RDX. So cheers. Nice to see you here. He did a super chat. If you want to do a super chat, get your questions answered, feel free to make sure by doing a small donation to the channel. Single malt. Hey, Zach, have a subscriber sip. I'm enjoying a Carlsberg. I like Carlsberg a lot. That's good beer. Hi, Zach. I hope all is well. How come U.S. auto journalists got their hands on the new Acura TLX and not Canadian auto journalists? You mean they actually got to drive it? Really? I didn't know. I just put my video out. I didn't look at what everybody else did. So, yeah, that's a real shame. I don't know how they got their hands on it. Hey, Zach, did your son finally get his driver's license? No, he didn't get his driver's license. He's going to be 18 in September, and we keep on kicking his ass saying, go and get your learners, or whatever it's called. But he's dilly-daddled and dawdled and never done it. And now COVID's hit, and now you can't go and do it. So he says before he turns 18, he's going to get it. My younger son, Charlie, who's 15, will turn 16 in March. I guarantee you, the day he turns 16, he will go and get his license. What's your favorite early morning back by lunchtime drive in Vancouver? I would say probably, it's not that inspiring, unfortunately. It's just kind of up to Squamish. I stop at the Starbucks, get a coffee, and drive back. That's about it. The thing is, in Vancouver, we have so few good roads. You would think in Vancouver, if you don't know the city, it's hemmed in by the ocean, mountains, and we have really no roads. Outside of the city, there's one that goes to Whistler, one that goes into the interior, which is a much longer drive. That's about an hour and a half to get to Hope, and then you're covered by the ocean. So unfortunately, we don't have great roads. I would say a nice drive to do though. A nice loop is to go from Vancouver over the Lionsgate Bridge, along the low road to Horseshoe Bay, up to Squamish, and then back. Okay, it's jumping around on me. I apologize. What's your favorite early morning drive? Okay. Stefan says, where's the beer? I just got it. So D. Byrne is writing a lot. So you can, if you want to follow along with what he recommends, he's a big fan, obviously, of the Cherokee. Hi, Zach. What would you suggest to replace the Mark 7 GTI 2-door, same or better performance with 2 doors? Hatch not necessity in Canada. GTI, so you want over 228 horsepower, 2-door car. My favorite is the Mustang GT. I think that with 460 horsepower now, 2-door car, that's a hell of a lot of car for the money. Maybe you're not considering a car like that, but Mustang GT. Hey, Zach, I would love your opinion on what you think is best if I move from my GLC Mercedes. Which brand should I consider, Porsche Cayenne or Range Rover Velar? I'm open to another premium brand. Well, as a no-brainer between those two, Brian, go get the Porsche Cayenne. I have one. I've had 2 of them. It really is. It's interesting. I'm going to be doing some more videos. I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, I had the old Ferrari that I drove, the 328. And then I had the old GT 500 Mustang that only had 500 miles on it. So my buddy Cornelius, who runs a small dealership here in Vancouver called Core Cars, I'm going to go tomorrow to drive some of his other cars. So there's a Porsche convertible and a Ferrari, another Ferrari that I'm going to get a chance to drive. These are not new cars, but I was talking to him about what he drives, what his wife drives with their kids, and he says she's driven a Range Rover, she's driven all these different vehicles, and her favorite vehicle and the one that she always goes back to is the Porsche Cayenne. So that's what she's driving right now. That's what we drive. I think it is pretty hard to beat. Now, somebody did ask about the X5 a moment ago. I would suggest you go and give that a shot as well. I think the new X5 is really good. Do you think the TLX Type S will be an Audi S4 or M340 competitor? Well, I think it's really going to come down to driving it. I mean, I really believe that they basically sort of benchmarked that Genesis G70 as a direct competitor and probably had a metric that they wanted to beat them on certain things, whether it was power or handling and all those sorts of things. So they have at their advantage that super handling all-wheel drive. They have a new 3-liter turbo engine, don't have the horsepower yet. I think that it's probably going to be higher than the 365 horsepower that Genesis currently offers. So as I mentioned just a moment ago about people buying sort of in silos, I really do believe that someone that's considering an Acura TLX Type S is probably shopping in the Asian import market. Maybe not so much the Germans, but there probably will be some crossover there. So I think that's probably the vehicle they're targeting. BMW 4 Series Coupe will be unveiled June 2nd. I hear they toned down the kidneys a bit. Well, I sure hope so. I don't know if you've seen the concept vehicle for the new 4 Series. It's like wowzers. Huge grills. Makes Lexus would be envious of the grills. What's a good first car? What's a good first car for a single guy who just graduated college? Need commuting, moving capacity, stuff, and maybe all-wheel drive option in case of snow. Well, Kyle, I just need you to tell me what kind of price you have. How much money? Do you want like a small crossover vehicle? Give me some examples of vehicles that are catching your attention. It's going to be easier for me. James is here. Hey, James, good to see you. Hey, Zach, thoughts on the Q60? Or if you've done a review, I'll search for that. I haven't done the Q60 in a while. I'm not a huge fan of the Q60. Buy a Pathfinder. And I'm not a big fan of the Pathfinder. I don't think that is a particularly strong vehicle. It has a continuously variable transmission. I don't mind the interior of the Q60. I think they did a pretty good job with the dash, even though the head unit is really quite old now. It's really getting long in the tooth. Actually, the entire Infiniti lineup outside of, oh shit, did I say Q60? I'm thinking QX60. My bad. I always get them mixed up. They changed the names of their frickin' cars and they always get me mixed up. Q60. Yes, there are reviews of the Q60 on the channel. That's a different vehicle. That is the G50 sedan, but with 2 doors. I don't mind it. It looks like it's like super sporty, unless you get the 400 horsepower one. It's not that invigorating to drive. It's a nice, comfortable car. A lot of people don't like the infotainment screens with the 2 of them. But yeah, there are a few videos on the Q60. One that I did, one that we had Mike do as well. So sorry I confused it with the QX60. Yeah, this is Brian writing back. He was asking about the Cayenne. He says, I was really looking forward to the GV80, but with the pricing, it's a shame. I just don't understand this. Genesis and Hyundai have been known for offering a lot of value for money, but to come out with the GV80 that I'm really excited about, I think it's a great looking car. The materials on the inside are first rate. To come out with a GV80 with no third row, unless you get the upgraded engine at $80,000 Canadian, I think that's a major misstep. I don't know why they don't offer the 2.5 liter turbo with over 300 horsepower with the third row seats. 80 grand, 80 grand. There's a lot of vehicles that you can choose for 80 grand. Wow. Subaru Outback, naturally aspirated engine versus turbo engine. Is it worth paying a premium to get the turbo engine? Ravi, I believe it is. I suggest you drive both. Go to the dealer, try one, try the other. You'll buy the turbo. I'm amazed to say this. I really think I dodged a bullet when I got a Yaris over a CHR. That's a good little car. Nothing wrong with the CHR. Hey Zach, why does every car generation get bigger, like the new TLX? Yeah, I mean, it's just I would bet you that the overall dimensions of the car are not that much bigger. They just stretched the wheelbase out. So they elongated the wheelbase, so pushed the wheels out to the corners. The track is a little bit wider. Doesn't mean the car is that much bigger. I don't have any information on the overall dimensions, but it's probably not that big of a difference. But I agree with you. Then they'll bring out another smaller car. Why doesn't North America mandate rear amber turn signals like in Europe? Amber turn signals reduce rear end collisions by 5%. I don't know. It's just the law, and we have antiquated laws. I mean, we only had regulations for high beams and low beams until I think a couple of years ago. So those really advanced matrix headlamps that are on high-end cars in Europe that have basically you have the light. This, they say this is the headlamp, and then they have these little shutters that go down, and so the lamp is shooting out and there's an oncoming car, it'll put a little shutter down in front of it and cast some shade so it doesn't shine in the oncoming car. So those sorts of things, not allowed. Yeah, we have to change a lot of our regulations. I don't think there's a big rush by anybody to change to amber. The big one that changed things was the third tail light on the back. Made a big difference for rear end collisions. What's the shortest distance you've ever traveled for a media drive, and what's the longest distance? The longest distance, there's 3 long trips that I've done in the last few years. I would say Cape Town, South Africa, okay? All the way to Cape Town, South Africa, 30 hours from Vancouver to Cape Town, stayed 1 night, and then flew back. Crazy, right? That was for the Audi A7. And I did that 2 years in a row, but with the Porsche event, we actually got to stay for 2 nights. I've gone all the way to Sydney, Australia from Vancouver. That's 16 hours. That's a long way. The shortest distance traveled is, you know, there's something here in Vancouver. I have a colleague of mine, Richard Russell, who lives in Halifax, and he has been writing about cars for a long time. I remember they had a prototype Nissan Leaf here in Vancouver, so I just went down and they had a parking lot and you could drive, you got to drive the prototype Nissan Leaf around the parking lot once. He flew from Halifax to Toronto, Toronto to Vancouver, got there, drove around once, and that was it. Can you believe it? So car companies, I would hope that some of those crazy things are going to end. Now with COVID-19, they're going to want to save some money. Richie Rich, hi Zach, do you think the 2021 TLX is finally ready to compete with the Germans, styling-wise at least? I don't know. As I said, I think it probably is going to be competing more with the other Asian import brands. Flippin' Zippo says, always love your car content. Love hearing about you talking watches. Oh God, I have another channel called Watch This. It's about watches. I got to tell you, I suck at getting new content out. I'm bad at it. I mean, I'm so busy doing the car stuff. I'd love to have more time for that. But yeah, I hear you. Here's the interesting thing. I'm going to confess something to you right now. I review cars for a living. This is my job. So when I watch videos on YouTube, I don't watch car videos. I don't watch anybody else's car videos. I don't read anybody else's reviews. I make up my own mind what I like and don't like. Do you know what I watch? I watch videos on watches and videos on van conversions. I'm into van conversions. People that take Sprinter vans and Dodge ProMasters and make camper vans out of them. I don't know. I'm addicted to those. I love those. Yeah, we have a couple of big YouTube channels based here in Canada about van lifers. What's one of them? Eamon and Beck. Eamon and Beck are from Toronto. They're doing a van conversion right now. Fernando Garcia Rubio. Hey, Zach, really love the Subaru WRX. Would you recommend to buy a 2020 version or wait for the next generation? Thank you. You know, if you really like the WRX, and there's probably some good deals on it, which brings in carcostcanada.com. Sign up at Carcost Canada, use the promo code Motormouth, get the expert level, and it opens up more searches. So the WRX doesn't sell particularly well now because everybody's kind of like holding off on it, which means you probably could get some not bad deals on the car. And maybe buy it for a year or so and then trade it in. So you can have your cake and eat it too. Do you really want to be lining up with everybody else when the new WRX comes out and they're going to charge premium for the car? There's not going to be any deals on interest rates or anything like that because there's going to be a big long lineup of people that want it. So you could buy or lease the current WRX for a year or two, and then when we finally get the new one, then the car's maybe been out for a little while, the mad panic to buy one isn't there, and maybe works in your favor. Just an idea. Hey, Zach, do you think buy the sedan for your kid yet? Would you share the purchase experience of how to come down to which car during the pandemic period of time? Thanks. Yeah, I'll probably do a little video on that. Bring you up to date. Jack, who just popped his head in, is claiming that he's going to get his driver's license. So we have two vehicles in our family business. One is the Cayenne that Andrea and I drive and we use for business. Whenever you see those shots of the car driving down the road, that's shot from the Cayenne. And then I have my Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. I got an old 4-cylinder pickup truck that I just love having an extra, but it's manual. And I don't think he's going to want to learn manual anyway to start with. So we're going to buy another family vehicle that we can all drive together, which will probably be a Corolla or a Civic. Nothing too exciting. But I'll document it. I have a 19 Pilot with a 9-speed. It's much better compared to the pre-refresh. That's good. Yeah, I think that they did a good job on that. Oh, Erica's here. Hey, Erica Quinn, I'm joining late. I hope you'll answer my video question if you haven't already. Erica, you missed it. We did it 2 days ago. So Erica, what I want you to do is you can watch this live, and I was kind of waiting for you to chime in last week. We answered that 2 nights ago. So if you go on and you watch, you will see your question and you will get the answer. Now, I gave a couple of vehicles that I want you to try, but we've already had somebody on here tonight saying that he believes that you should try the Jeep Cherokee, okay? Try that too. So Erica, watch this, but please, when you have a moment, excuse me, please watch the video we did a couple of nights ago. And I want to say thank you for being our first female video contributor, which is great, and your questions were answered. Hey, Zach, did you hear that Scotty Kilmer likes the new C8 Corvette? Haha. I don't know. I think he's an idiot. And you can tell him that. Hey, Zach, any indication when we'll see the production version of the new WRX? No, I have no idea. I mean, I can ask these people at Subaru, but they're not going to tell me exactly. We'll have to wait. So Erica just chimed in again asking about the Rogue Platinum. So Erica, I'll just paraphrase a little quickly. Go watch the other video. I said there's a brand new Rogue coming this fall. So if you're not in a rush, that's something to consider. But please go and watch the video from 2 nights ago and you'll find your answer. Greetings again from Lima, Peru. I always follow you more than 19 years. Wow. I haven't been... I don't know. How do you watch me for 19 years? I've only been doing it on YouTube for 9, maybe 9 years. Hey, Zach, could you explain how some YouTubers can earn so much, can write off their expenses on their expensive car leases? Hope you reach 150 subs soon. Well, I think that, if you're doing YouTube full time, and you're doing automotive content and you're buying a car, I would suggest it's probably a legitimate business expense. How do you write off, a supercar or something like that? Well, there are rules to what you're allowed to write off. For example, in Canada, I believe it's $800 a month is all you're allowed to write off as a legitimate business expense. Now, they might be buying them inside their company. Like, for example, if you had like the straight pipes, say they got 1 million subscribers, say they buy a vehicle inside their company, Straight Pipes Incorporated, for example, then the company owns it and the company is paid by YouTube. So that's how they could do it. U.S. auto journalists didn't get to drive the new TLX. They were all like B-roll. Only Motor 1 with both cars were blacked out inside and hood locked. Yeah, so obviously Acura had a sneak peek for obviously just Motor 1. Everybody else put out a video like I did today. I only heard about the launch of this car about a week ago. I contacted Acura Canada. I said, can you send me the B-roll footage under embargo? And I said I would oblige by the embargo, and they sent it along. I don't think anybody's getting their hands on cars. I just don't think it's happening right now. I'm a member of a Facebook group, a closed group for auto journalists, and I read the comments from the US people, and they're not any further ahead than we are here. I would suggest that where I live in Vancouver, we have opened up a lot more than most places around North America. Hey, Zach, looking for a used SUV under 40,000 Canadian, looking to keep for 5 or 8 years. What's your recommendation? Matt Smith, dude, I need more information than that. I mean, are you looking for a 5-passenger, 7-passenger? Are you looking for luxury? Are you looking for not luxury? What are you looking for? I need to know. Give me some examples. Somebody said, yay for van conversions. Those are some pretty nice rides. There's a guy I just watched, his Paul the Punter did a van conversion, is the name of his channel. He's up in Whistler, and they did a van conversion in Squamish. Now the guys that did this, I think it's called Go Vans or something like that, Go Van Conversions, up in Squamish. Man, these guys do beautiful work. Would you recommend Audi Q7 versus Volvo XC90? They're both fine vehicles. I'm not a big lover of Volvo's interface for their infotainment. That's just a personal thing. They're both excellent choices. So go and try and pick the one you like better. Often when it comes to these things, this is what in our industry we call the buying funnel. So maybe you had 5 vehicles to start with. Now you're down to 2. And the one that shoots out the bottom of the funnel often will come down to the price, which is why you should go to carcostcanada.com, sign up, use the promo code MotorMouth, and often when you have a vehicle like Audi Q7, Volvo XC90, you like them both, they're both fine. Often it comes down to who's got the better deal, and that's where you'll find out the information. Often the tiebreaker. That's how the funnel works. People get down to the bottom, and you get between a CR-V and a RAV4. It might just come down to monthly payments. Hey, Zach, for compact luxury SUVs, what do you recommend? 2020 GLC versus Discovery Sport versus XC60. The GLC is getting on. There's lots of spy shots of the new C-Class. There's certainly them. They're out all the time. So the C-Class will be shown soon. It probably would be ready to be shown at the Paris Motor Show this fall, but that's not happening. So there'll be a new C-Class, and then there'll be a GLC based on the C-Class coming shortly after that. So the GLC is getting towards the end of its run. Same thing for the Discovery Sport. It's been out for a while. Now, here's 2 that I want you to drive. I have no problem with the GLC. I think it's a good product. I'm just telling you there's going to be something new coming soon. The ones that I like in this space the best are the new Q3, the Audi Q3, and I also like the XC40. If you don't need that slightly more space in the XC60, do yourself a favor and try the XC40. The XC40 is a fantastic product. I think they did an amazing job with the packaging on the inside. Those would be my 2 choices. All right, check them out. Hey Zach, how you doing? Wristwatch check. This is from Big Pizza Pie. Well, today I have on a vintage Tudor Submariner from the mid-90s. I have two of these. I have a blue one with the snowflake hands from the 70s, and then the Mercedes hands from the 90s. Great watches. They've gone way up in value. I'm rolling around here. Wristwatches, unlike cars, often go up in value. Why do wheels 20 inches have such small sidewalls? I like big wheels, but I like fat sidewalls. I like fat sidewalls too. Okay, little lesson here. How are we going to do this? The circumference, the outside circumference of the wheel and tire is the same on all of the trims for the most part, right? So the smaller the wheel, the wider the tire to make up the overall same rolling circumference. So the size of the pizza is the same on the outside. The middle is the wheel, and then the part in between is the tire, okay? So if you make the middle bigger, that means that the tire gets smaller. The overall circumference remains the same, all right? It's quite easy to do. Go to Tire Rack and you can look at the different size wheels. They have a sort of a visualizer you can do. You can do different, there's wheel calculators that you can look at. So it's got nothing to do with the fact that, oh, we're gonna put on skinny tires. No, the overall circumference is the same of both wheels and tires, just one has more tire. Make sense? When the Corona lockdown is over, I need to go to an auto show. Yeah, why not? I was supposed to go, I had two auto shows booked. I was supposed to go to Geneva. I was supposed to fly on the Sunday, and on the Friday they canceled it. That's how close Geneva was to actually going live with their show. So that's one. Then the New York Auto Show, then the Paris Auto Show, then the Detroit Auto Show. So there you go. Raj says, hi, thanks for all the live videos and answering all my questions. Also, my favorite beer is Kronenbourg 1664. Well, I'll drink to that. Now, Raj, you know this. Where's Kronenbourg from? Trick question. A lot of people think it's from somewhere else. With a name like Kronenbourg, a lot of people get the country of origin wrong. Did you see the new Venza that Toyota announced? Yes, there's a video on it. I had a picture up there the other day. Yeah, there's a video on it. Go on the channel, check it out. I just wanted to say that after I decided on my 5th GTI last fall, that your channel kind of fell off my radar. What? But I really enjoy your commentary and opinions. Great program, great content, thanks. Well, what took you so long to come back? Just because you bought a car doesn't mean you can't keep watching videos. Hopefully I helped you buy the GTI. I'm actually disappointed that the Toyota Corolla station wagon is not available in the US. I think it looks better than the hatchback. There's really not a big market for station wagons. If you missed it on the last show, Erica, I did email BMW Canada, and they confirmed that there will be no 20 or 21 3 Series wagon. They wouldn't make a comment on the next generation, but yeah, they're getting out of the wagon game, and they've been a real stalwart in this sort of category for a long time. I just don't think that Toyota wants to make a big commitment to bring in a low volume car. That's really all it is. Ricardo says, I used to watch you on TV. Well, that's good. I'm still on TV, but I moved from driving television to motoring TV on TSN. When do you think is the best time to buy a car? Well, I'll go through this again because I get asked this regularly. The best time to buy a car is typically at the end of the year, especially when a new model is being introduced. Here's a perfect example. TLX. We just got the TLX shown today. So when the new TLX is about to arrive at dealers, that's when the biggest deals will be for the current model, the 2020 model. So the 2021 is coming. They'll have big discounts. Same thing again. Go to Car Cost Canada, sign up, and you'll be able to see month after month what the new incentives and rebates are. So when a brand new model is coming in, that's when you get the best deal on the old one. So you have to ask yourself, are you motivated by having the newest and the latest? I got to have the 2021. Or are you motivated by getting the best deal? That's going to be the 2020. So that's when you get the best deal. Also, when you're just about to click over to a calendar year, so all of the 2020s that are on the dealer lot, once we hit January, they'll all now be officially 1 year old. So dealers often want to get rid of a car that is in that calendar year, end of the year. Sorry, I just joined the live stream, but want to ask, what do you think of the reliability of Korean cars, Hyundai and Kia? Hyundai and Kia have some of the best reliability scores of any brands in the auto industry. Kia is right at the very top of J.D. Power and Associates initial quality and even their dependability study. These companies have done an amazing job of really coming out of nowhere in the last 20 years and just dominating. And Genesis is right at the very top as well. So there's your answer. Doug DeMuro just reviewed the Q7 and loved it. What are your thoughts? The only thing, I haven't driven the one with the new head unit in it. It's a fine product. I mean, the Q7 is great. This is the problem that Genesis is going to have with this GV80, is that you have established players like Audi with the Q7 that sort of helped originate that whole sort of shape and style and 7-passenger, and they don't punish you for having to buy a higher output engine in order to get the 7-row seats. I just think that's a mistake. Hey Zach, which car would you recommend, Mazda 6 GT or Honda Civic Touring? That's a good question. I think they're both good. The question I would have for you is, which one are you going to buy automatic? Actually, no, they're both CVT. No, take that back. The Honda is a CVT and the Mazda 3 is a 6-speed automatic. I would probably go with the Mazda 3 GT, but if it was a manual transmission, it would be the Honda Civic Touring. That's for sure. If it's a manual transmission, I would get the Civic Si. That's what I would get. Would you pick a Mazda 3 all-wheel drive or a Kia Forte GT? Or which car do you think is best value for $30,000? Well, I think the Kia Forte, the Forte GT, if you get good winter tires, would be just fine. I think that the best value for $30,000 is the base model GTI. I think that's a hell of a car for $30,000 with 228 horsepower, polished, great drive, been around forever, and you get the smaller wheels, but you could always look later for some bigger wheels if you wanted. There you go. 5 or 7 passenger, been looking for a Forester XT and also an 18 Highlander SE. Looking at mainstream. This is Matt coming back about vehicles under, I think, $40,000. Well, you're talking about a 2-row 5-passenger vehicle and then a 7 or 8-passenger vehicle. So if you're looking for a little bit more excitement, it's going to be the Forester XT with the turbo engine. It's actually a real fun car to drive. So that's the one I would choose. If you're just looking about if you're just looking at a vehicle to move people and stuff around comfortably, the Highlander is bulletproof. It's just going to do everything really well. It's not going to do anything really great. So that's kind of my answer. If you're looking for a little bit more fun, get the Subaru. Hey Zach, great work. I have a friend looking at a used Genesis G80, a 17 to 2020. What engine would you look at? The base 3.8, the 3.3, or the 5-liter? The 5-liter is fantastic. It's a great engine. I would say probably the 3.3 turbo. It would probably be the best all-rounder, okay? But the 5-liter is fantastic, based just on fuel economy. Is it me or the Accord and Pilot? Is it me? It's me with the Accord and the Pilot who is going to take delivery of the S7. Oh, yeah. You sent the pictures in the other day. Just took delivery today. It's an incredible beauty. Wish Wish there wasn't that much gloss black inside. Okay, Abdullah sent in pictures of his cars. He has the Accord, the Pilot, and then he put a picture up of his S7. Beautiful looking car. I agree with you with all the screens. So you've got the two big screens in the center and then the digital cockpit in behind. I mean, first of all, you picked a hell of a car. That's a beautiful car. But yeah, you know what? Just keep one of those microfiber cloths in the armrest and just wipe it down when you can. Porsche is always the answer. When you can afford a Porsche, when you can afford a Porsche. Maz is the answer. DJ, not Powers. I don't understand what you mean, James. But yeah, you can never go wrong with a Porsche. Does Car Cost Canada work on certified pre-owned cars? No, it's just on brand new cars. Some dealers have inventory lists on their website. Clarkdale Volkswagen has 12 Tiguans when I was buying and got a great deal. Yeah, so there you go. Have I actually, for the first time ever, hit the very last question? What's wrong with wagons? Nothing wrong with wagons. It's just people prefer SUVs. That's just the way it is. Well, this is actually perfect timing. I've hit the very last question. That's never happened before. So, if you haven't got a question through, now's your chance to do it because I've got a couple of minutes left and you can get your question answered. All right. We're up against the clock. That's all the time we have, I guess. I will, as I mentioned, if you're just tuning in now, the live show is going to go down to 2 times a week now. I'm not going to do Sunday night. I'm going to do Monday and Thursday. So Thursday stays the same. This will be the same. And I'm not going to do Sunday. I'm just going to move it to Monday. So 2 times a week starting this coming Monday, okay? So nothing this Sunday. I'll be back Monday and Thursday. All right. Let's see if anybody has a last minute question. Cronenberg is from France. Right on. I'm wondering if the connection is just catching up. Yeah, Cronenberg is French. A lot of people think it's from somewhere else. Doesn't sound French, does it? All right. I will say goodbye. I'm going to go and have dinner. We're having tacos tonight. Nice. So maybe I'll have to switch from Beck's to Corona if I'm having tacos. Okay, guys. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy. If you haven't watched it, check out the new Acura TLX. Erica, watch the video I did a couple of days ago, and we'll speak to you on Monday. Take care, everyone.